and welcome to the Arma 3 Alpha. This is nothing to do with the poll video that I recently uploaded. If you are new to my channel and are interested, check out my poll video, as it allows you to vote for what you want to watch on my channel. If you don't care, well then bugger off. I don't care about you. Today I'm going to be showing you how well Arma 3 runs on my system. System specs are below, and also how to tell you how to get better performance. There are two problems with the game so far, and this is how to fix them. First one is, the game doesn't run how it should unless you enable NVIDIA physics in your NVIDIA control panel to use your graphics card rather than your CPU or auto select. It has to use your graphics card, because when it uses auto select, for some reason it defaults to the CPU, well, at least for me, and it does significantly tank my frames. The second problem is the game doesn't use your graphics card to its full potential unless you download NVIDIA's new beta drivers that have recently been released, as before I was running about 40% under load. It wasn't using all my card, it was using about 50% of it, but now it uses all of it, which is good news. In order to get the best performance with the least graphical loss, I would recommend setting the visibility to 1000. That's the best to use if you're infantry. Objects to 500. Turn that up even slightly, you'll notice a huge frame rate drop, but to be honest, I'd noticed very little graphical difference unless you're using binoculars or a scope. And shadows I set to 50, which you notice is a graphical loss, but it's not huge. VSync is disabled. If you want to cap your frame rate, do it in NVIDIA Inspector. It's the place I'd recommend you do it, because this, for some reason, for me, gives me a hell of a lot of input lag. You can do subsampling and supersampling in this game. I wouldn't recommend either. Anti-aliasing is disabled. There have been reports that turning anti-aliasing on can improve your frame rate, but that does not work for me. FXAA is on Ultra. That hasn't been enabled yet in the alpha, but soon will be. Finally, alpha coverage. Post-process is set to normal. Set it any higher, you will lose a lot of frames, but won't notice any graphical difference. If you want to get rid of the blurriness and motion blur and the rather intense bloom, turn this off. HDR quality, difference between standard and low is not even near noticeable. Standard, I don't even notice the difference, there is no frame rate difference. Anisotropic filtering on Ultra doesn't change performance in any way, never really has done, unless you're running an cheese board as a graphics card. This has never ever been system intensive for as long as I can remember. Picture in picture, I keep that on standard. This is only noticeable in night fights. You don't really notice it all that much. It's just a reflection on the glass of lighting or you, but it's a very subtle graphical effect. You'll tend not to notice it, so you might as well set it to standard to boost your frames. Dynamic light set to ultra. This, with no people around, does nothing to your frame rate, but if there are a lot of people, a lot of lights, this can severely harm your frame rate. Texture quality set to very high. Objects quality, recommend you set this to standard if you have a low-end PC. Ultra does dip the frames considerably. Terrain quality set to ultra. The difference between standard and ultra is not in the vegetation but in the ground itself. On ultra there is parallax mapping as far as I can tell. Not sure if it's tessellation, doesn't look like it. But on standard the ground looks much flatter. Cloud quality, I disable this, as volumetric clouds in this game tank my frame rate just like the original Crysis. Shadow quality, another strange thing is that standard gives you better graphics and better performance by about 3 or 4 FPS than low. And I haven't tried high yet. Particles quality set to very high. This only tanks your frame rate in really intense battles. Turn this down if you play multiplayer. If you want decent frames in multiplayer, turn down object quality and terrain quality to standard, and then you'll be fine. Those two settings for some reason affect multiplayer a lot. Let me just turn this down. I tend to have the sources low because penis. Okay. So far, the alpha has been very promising, and I really hope that the full release is fantastic. Let's just hope the optimization isn't like PlanetSide 2 and doesn't leave you running the game at 30 FPS on low. This is a very CPU intensive game, so you might see that. But at the moment it's only using 1, maybe 2 of my cores, and I'm clocked at 3 GHz, so if you have a more powerful CPU then you should be good, and hopefully they'll optimize it for 4 cores. But at the moment there doesn't seem to be evidence of this. May I start?
Move 100 meters. Front. Sir, I've got lots of enemy movement.
Okay, let's talk about frame rate. The game for me runs at a constant 30 FPS and above. It will always run at above 30 FPS for me, unless you have a lot of AI on the map. Then the frame rate does tend to tank. As well, so far they haven't optimized CPU usage. Graphically, it doesn't strain my card all that much, which is good news because Arma 2 used to send my card to hell. It's similar performance to Arma 2, so if you can run Arma 2, you can run Arma 3. Sort of similar to if you could run Bad Company 2, you can run Battlefield 3. So far, from everything I've played, this is an outright improvement from Arma 2, and I would recommend it to everyone. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the alpha, I'd recommend you wait to the full release. I only got the alpha because I'm a hardcore Arma fan. So far, they do have Wasteland as a multiplayer game mode, which is a sort of DayZ style multiplayer game. It's a mod where it's basically DayZ without the zombies. You survive against other people, which is actually a hell of a lot of fun, but I wouldn't recommend it at the moment because they have no hacker protection. If you want to play multiplayer in this, I'd recommend you set up a private server and play with friends. I'd recommend co-op at the moment, as that's quite fun. At the moment, the AI is better than Arma 2, I have to say, but it's still stupid. They can utilise cover now, and they don't run out into the open, but there are instances where they're pretty damn stupid. Graphically, it is a phenomenal looking game. It has wind physics in it, and I'm being shot at, and I'm probably going to die. You also have multiple stances, which I'll show you in a couple seconds. This isn't just a benchmark video, it's more or less just telling you... think of Total Biscuit's WTF is. Yes, these are the many stances you can do with Control W and S. At the moment, there is no like stance indicator in first person mode, so you have no fucking clue what stance you're in. As I have gone into prone many times, like this, and realised that I can't move, which is a bit of a hindrance, to be honest. You can also walk just by pressing C, it's on toggle, sprint and walk, and you can also sprint. Okay, fine, walk, run and sprint. At the moment, the game appears to be very stable. I've had no crashing in it. It is a damn stable alpha. It also runs really well. I'm recording at a solid 30 FPS. And there are no signs of it being dumbed down from Arma 2, so if you like Arma 2, you'll like Arma 3. The only problem is the mod DayZ is not going to be ported over to this engine. It's going to be released as a standalone game on Steam. So if you're looking for DayZ, you're not going to get it here. But if you're looking for a fantastic, or one of the best military shooters out there, well, not military, that's because Battlefield 3 is equally as good. One of the best military simulators out there, this is definitely the one to go for. You can... I would also recommend buying the anniversary pack if you really want it, because Arma 2 is worthwhile playing still. Problem is, you're going to need a pretty beefy rig to play it. If you don't have a good CPU, then you're screwed. I have a 3 GHz quad-core i5, and I'm running this on a GTX 550 Ti, so you know that this can run on a relatively low-end system. And this is pretty much all ultra. So this is a must-have. The only problems I've seen with the game so far is multiplayer. That hasn't really been improved over Arma 2 so far. Joining a server's still a complete pain in the arse, and you'll probably get huge pings on all of the servers. Hackers at the moment are still a problem, and let's hope that's fixed, but the thing is they haven't put in any form of anti-hacker protection in this so far. The controls are much more intuitive than they used to be. They're no longer annoying, fiddly to use. Movement is so much better. Movement is just phenomenal. It's not Arma 2 anymore. It's not that robotic movement that no one really liked. This is realistic movement that gives you a hell of a lot of control. Head bobbing is no longer a pain in the arse. This is head bobbing on medium, and the game still is perfect. It doesn't give me a migraine anyway. So far I haven't found any FOV options, but I'm probably too stupid to find any FOV options. As you can see, the AI does have some problems as it just refuses to advance. I'm not even sure if that's an enemy over there. It's probably just glitching out on me. But this game does run significantly better than Arma 3. The performance is on par. Arma 3, what am I talking about? Waffles, there we go. The performance is the same as Arma 2, but the graphics and gameplay are considerably better. So if the performance in Arma 2 was good for you, then this is a must-buy. But trust me, you're gonna need a pretty powerful rig to play this. My rig is mid to low end, and I can play this comfortably. And I have no problems. So if you have a 550 Ti with a decent CPU and 4 gigs of RAM, I'd recommend this. At the moment I'm running this on Windows 8, which does give me better frames than Windows 7. I've had a lot of problems with Arma 2 and Windows 7. Arma 3 and Windows 8 seems to work quite well. Nvidia haven't actually currently released any proper drivers for it yet, so I'd recommend waiting. If you really want to see the full package, wait till the full release, or at least the beta. At the moment this is a must-have for hardcore Arma fans, and it's also a must-have for any people who just like Arma. This will give you a, because I think this will be the lowest price you'll see it for a while. It's about £20 in the UK on Steam and on their website. I have no idea what it is in other countries. I've heard that it's about $34 in America. This game is a considerable improvement over Arma 2. The fact that you can now heal yourself, the fact that commanding people is easier. You might not be able to hear their conversations, but their voices are no longer robotic. Gunplay is much improved. And the only quibbles that I have with the game is the fact that the optimization isn't where it needs to be. But at the moment, it is good. The problem is there are certain parts of this game which are still Arma 2 and they haven't changed. Such as the command system, which is still a pain in the arse to navigate. I want to ask for healing. There we go, injured 4. Apparently no one cares that I'm bleeding to death. Unless our medic is dead. That would make sense. I wonder if this dude has a medpack on him. Oh, I'm dead. Best not loot bodies when people are shooting at you. Revert. Okay. The showcases are quite fun, but they're pretty short. Basically, the only content you'll get in this game, if you buy it, is multiplayer. which at the moment is heavily bugged. Haven't really seen any hackers, to be honest, but there have been problems with it. Just to let you know with that. You get the editor with a limited range of units, but it's the editor. Who gives a fuck? The editor's hilarious.
Frag out! Kerry, Lacey, engaging targets.
Oh, our squad leader's dead. LOL.
We've got incoming mortar fire. 100 meters left. Spotters must be nearby. Someone's gotta find them and take them out.
Looting bodies is still a pain in the ass, but the inventory system is far improved.
Got it, sir.
No, I guess that's not it then. There we go, first aid kit. Treat self. There you go. Oh, for fuck's sake! Did I really just get hit by... Oh. The detail and everything is much better. And for people saying that the game is poorly optimised, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's poorly optimised. It still runs better than PlanetSide 2, so that is a poorly optimised game. But then you've got to think that both of those games are really complex. They're high end, so you can't complain. You can't call poor optimisation for a game that's just requires better hardware. At the moment, the game has a hell of a lot of problems on ATI cards. So if you have an ATI card, I recommend until at least beta or full release for this. At the moment, if you have an Nvidia card and it's equal or better to the 550 Ti, this game is a must-have. If you like military simulators, this is, well, it's probably one of the only. Other than Operation Flashpoint, which doesn't really count as a simulator anymore. It's basically just Call of Duty on the hardest difficulty. It still has everything that Arma 2 had, but better. This is an iteration on Arma 2, and that's all I really wanted. The fact that it improved all of the problems that Arma 2 had. And this is in the alpha. I have no idea what that mini display means, but I'm guessing it's people, like mortars in the mountains, maybe. I have no idea. Let's have a look at the map. Let's have a pick. What's these? I don't know what that is. Defend, assault. Apparently I've done both. So what do I do now? Oh! Ooh, waypoints. Apparently I have to go over there. I'm probably going to die. The fuck? Oh, so I was shooting a box highlighting nothing. Fair enough. The clouds look nice. You don't need volumetric clouds. This game has a full day-night cycle, by the way. Well, and again, Arma 2 had a full day-night cycle. Why do you assume it didn't? The thing is, you can turn up the render distance, so you have grass in the distance, but that puts you at a severe disadvantage to other players. So what I would recommend is keeping the render distance low so you can actually see other people in grass, hidden, like snipers. I'd only if you play Battlefield 3 and you're a huge fan of that, even then I wouldn't recommend this game. I'd only recommend this game if you're looking for a hardcore military simulator. And also if you're looking for a very good simulator, just in general. Because most simulators out there, Farm Simulator. Oh.
We've lost comms with Bravo. Presumed KIA. Fall back ASAP. Papa Bear.
Well, I was almost there. Why? I don't want to sprint because that makes me... Oh,